Alright, so we are back for another Dokkan Battle video, and in today's video we are going to be going over the full free-to-play Team Bardock squad and why you should grind them up if you don't already have them. I'm probably going to do a video like this for the other two free-to-play teams as well, the free-to-play Guinea Force team and the free-to-play Metal Cooler team, just because for newer players, if you're really trying to get a good team solidified, you know, you want to take on, I don't know, Boss Rush, you want to start doing these Dokkan events, you want to do Infinite History, having a free-to-play team like Team Bardock, the Guinea Force, the Metal Cooler squad would be very useful for you, and it's a really good gateway into team building and just to kind of teach you how Dokkan works. So this video mainly is for newer players. If you've been playing for like a year, you probably have a better team and you don't need to grind up the full Team Bardock squad. But if you are new to the game, I definitely do recommend grinding them up because, well, now we're going to go into them and you're going to see why. Because for free-to-play units, they're actually really good. So the LR Team Bardock, you get this card by grinding up all the other free-to-play Team Bardock units, which you can only rainbow one of them per day, or grind them up one at a time. So, unfortunately, it's going to take a week to get this guy. Not that big of a deal, again, all things considered. By that, I mean because they're really good. So, it's worth the week of grinding. But, anyway, yeah, they are the best lead for this category, so they lead Team Bardock for 4 key, 130% the stats. Pretty good just for, like, a free-to-play lead, but in the grand scheme of things, you're going to want to start seeing like 200% leader skills. But again, if you're new to the game, this is still really good for just the, I don't know, your first team just to get you going, right? And then their super attack effect is that they get 50% the stats on 12 and 18 key. So this is really good. This is 50% attack and defense for one turn. Obviously very useful because then if you put them in slot 2 and 3, then all the attacks they're taking, they're getting the benefit of this defense with those attacks. So definitely good with that. They also support on their 18 key super attack effect. They support all super class allies for 30% attack. Everyone on Team Bardock is a super class unit, so they're supporting everyone on the team. So definitely very good there. Their passive is that they get 3 key for an LR. That's really good. It's just going to help get that 18 key super. They get 100% to stats and then an additional 50% attack on super. They build up 1 key up to 5 and 20% to stats up to 100% per Team Bardock category ally on the team. So that's not going to be difficult to get whatsoever. Most of the time, you should be running them with a full Team Bardock squad. So as long as you have that going for them, they're going to get this extra 100% the stats right here on top of the 100% here. They got 50% attack here, and then also they're getting 50% attack and defense here. And I'm pretty sure the attack that they get, or that they're supporting superclass allies with, I'm pretty sure that does apply to them as well. So already, a lot of stats going on. And then they get an extra 50% defense and launches a guaranteed additional super attack when there's another Team Bardock category ally attacking in the same turn. Again, most of the time you're only surrounding them with Team Bardock category units, so should be very easy to get. And a guaranteed additional super is good because he also gets 50% defense on his 12 key. So then that's 2 of these basically in one turn. Obviously very good. And then he's supporting superclass allies for 50% to stats, and then an additional 1 key and 20% to stats for Team Bardock category allies. So let's just put this in retrospective. If you have them with a full Team Bardock category, well, team, you're supporting everyone for 1 key and 70% to stats. You get a guaranteed additional super attack, 50% extra defense, and then, I guess, technically 100% extra attack and defense and 5 key. So all these things you get just by having them on a Team Bardock category, obviously, is going to be very good. So definitely make sure you have them with, you know, a full Team Bardock team. If you don't have that, he's going to be heavily nerfed and you're going to be missing out on a lot of things in his kit. But that's not to say he's completely useless on, I don't know, like a Pure Sands team or any team where you're not surrounding him with a bunch of Team Bardock category allies, because technically he is supporting all superclass allies for 50% the stats. There's no restriction behind that. It's not, you know, any hoops you got to go through to get the support. So if you want to throw him on, I don't know, a Pure Sands team with a bunch of other Gokus, technically he is supporting them for 50% the stats, so there is some value with that. But again, I recommend just keeping him on a Team Bardock category just because that's where he's getting all the other restrictions in his kit. So LR Team Bardock, definitely very good. And then next up, we got the STR Bardock. This guy's probably the best TUR, or the best free-to-play TUR out of everyone else we're going to be mentioning. Just because this guy does get up to 50% damage reduction if you surround him with a bunch of Team Bardock category allies. So I guess we can just actually go over his kit. He gets 30% the stats on his super attack effect, and then he seals. That's pretty nice for Super Battle Road. And then the 30% the stats, definitely very good. 150% to attack and defense start of turn, and then 20% to attack and defense per key sphere obtained. that's really good because if I'm not mistaken, yeah, this Fasha is Rainbow Orb changing. So you've got a Rainbow Orb changer on the team, and you've got someone who's benefiting from those Rainbow Orbs because they get, you know, a lot of attack and defense per key sphere obtained. And also, they get a 7% chance to crit per Rainbow key sphere obtained. So if you're running this guy specifically next to Fasha, then, you know, you have a pretty good rotation there between the Rainbow Orbs and then this guy benefiting from those Rainbow Orbs. And then, yeah, this guy gets 10% damage reduction per Team Bardock category ally on the team, up to 50%. So between 50% damage reduction, 20% the stats per key sphere obtained, 7% crit chance per Rainbow key sphere obtained, and then 30% the stats on super. Reasonably good stats for a free-to-play unit. This guy is going to be looking really good. Again, probably the best free-to-play TUR on the Team Bardock category, mainly because of the 50% damage reduction. So similar to Team Bardock, just make sure you have this guy on the Team Bardock category, and he's going to be fine. And then next up, we got Fasha. So Fasha is definitely a defensive unit. Her damage isn't really going to be that good, but her defense is pretty alright for a free-to-play unit. I'm going to just say that. So she gets 50% defense on super attack effect, which, by the way, for these characters that are getting defense on super, I would say give them a little bit of additionals in their hidden potential system. For a unit like Fasha, she would benefit both with additionals and dodge, because if you're not aware, she is a dodging unit. You can see here she has a high chance of dodge just right off the bat. So giving her a little bit of dodge and additionals, I think is probably the best way to go with her, but I think that boils down more to personal preference. If you want her to be doing more supers, more damage, then definitely go additionals. And also, it's benefiting her defensively because she's getting the 50% defense on her super attack effect. But if you really want to capitalize on her dodge, you could build her with a full dodge build, because then that's only going to make sure she's dodging more. So that's really just down to personal preference. But anyway, 50% defense on super attack effect, lowers attack and defense, 150% the stats start of turn, high chance to dodge, randomly changes key spheres of a certain type to rainbow key spheres when there's an ally whose name includes Bardock. And then all allies get 3 key, and Team Bardock category allies get 30% attack and defense within the same turn after evading an attack. Alright, so, I mean, as you see, this guy's supporting, she's supporting, and then there's also a couple other support units on the team. So just everyone's supporting each other. Everyone has these Team Bardock restrictions, but, well, you know, you're running a Team Bardock team, so it's not really going to be that difficult to get those restrictions off. So overall, she's going to look really impressive. You could probably throw her on a couple other teams as well, because she still has that high chance to dodge, just with no restriction. So if you want to throw her on Peppy Gals, if you want to really just bank on her dodging, she could still provide some value on that category. So definitely Fasha, really good option. And then next up, we got Tora. So Tora is a stacker. He's going to be really good for longer events because he's infinitely stacking attack and defense. Because of that, I would say go additionals with this guy just so you can get as many supers as possible to really ramp up his stats as soon as possible, really. And then this guy gets 150% the stats start of turn. He gives all allies 3 key and 30% the stats. So like I said, just more attack and defense going around. And then he gives Team Bardock category allies 10% crit chance. So that's another reason why I wouldn't really recommend going like crits with some of these guys. I would say go dodge and additionals just because this guy's giving crit chance. You know, the Bardock has crits already built into his kit. And then I'm pretty sure one of the other units, whether it's Shugesh or Boros, have crits built in as well. So between the support and between a couple of them already having crits built in, I would say probably dodge and additionals on most of these Team Bardock units is the best way to go. But anyway, that was a little side tangent. Yeah, he supports for 10% crit chance, recovers 15% HP whenever HP is 85% or less if there are 3 or more low-class warrior category allies on the team. Everyone on Team Bardock is on low-class warrior, so that's not really going to be that difficult to get. And then, yeah, that's it with this guy. So compared to all the other units, a little bit less going on. I would say his main value is just the fact that he's a stacker, and then I guess the support as well. So don't let the kit fool you. He's still really good between him stacking and his support, but for the first couple turns, he might be one of the weaker units on the team. I'll say that. But Tora, still really good. Then next up, we got Boros. Boros is without a doubt a super battle road unit, but if you want to have him as a floater on the team, if you're doing longer content, you still can make that work. I would say as long as, yeah, maybe if you just go like additionals and dodge, because then if you get the double super with him, that's 2 50% attack and defense buffs right there. Obviously very good. And this guy does have built-in additionals, but it's when facing 2 or more enemies. Unfortunately, that is kind of just restricted to super battle road. But this guy does also get an extra 100% the stats when facing only one enemy. Most of the time, you are going to have that activated. And then a high chance to crit when there's another Team Bardock category ally in the same turn. Again, most of the time, you are going to have that activated just because that's the team you're running him on. And also, just to point this out, everyone is linking together very well. I'm pretty sure everyone shares 6 out of 7 links, I think, because they have 1 link difference. But regardless, all of them link together very, very well. So that's definitely not going to be an issue, and that's just going to be more stats going around. But Boros, definitely one of the weaker options on the team, but still very good. And then finally, we got Shugesh. He's also a defensive stacker. Unfortunately, he doesn't stack attack, but not really that important. I don't really think any of the units on this category are going to be doing a lot of damage outside of maybe Team Bardock, the LR. But regardless, good defensively because he's stacking defense. He gets 150% to stats, an additional 50% to attack and defense when there's another Team Bardock category ally in the same turn. Performs a guaranteed crit when the target enemy is stunned, and then stuns the target enemy when the target enemy's super attack is sealed. Yeah, and then launches an additional that has a high chance to become a super attack when the target enemy is in attack down or defense down status. So, it's not going to be that difficult to get this just because other units on the team are doing those. Like you can see, you know, Boros is stunning, Tora is lowering defense, Fasha is lowering attack and defense, and then Bardock does seal on a super attack effect. So, you should be able to get these pretty frequently, but I guess that really just depends on what content you're bringing him in because, you know, Infinite History, Boss Rush, a lot of these Dokkan events, you can't do these. You can't lower attack or defense. You can't do any of that. So the value for it isn't crazy, but very similar to Tora because this guy is stacking. It's all right if his passive isn't as crazy as some of the other units because his stats are still going to ramp up pretty quickly just because of that. So those are all the free-to-play units on Team Bardock. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, there's a couple other units that you could run on this team as well. If you have LR Bardock, he's reasonably good. Granted, he has aged, definitely, but still, he can be pretty alright on the category. There is the Dokkan Fest Bardock. He could be a really good lead. If you've got a 200% lead going around, then team's going to be even better. In fact, instead of running the LR Team Bardock as the friend lead, you're probably going to want to run this guy most of the time. So, there's that. There's the Band Unit Tora. He can be pretty good. And then, I mean, yeah, I guess there's Fasha. She can be pretty decent as well, the physical one. And then that's pretty much it for the other options outside of the free-to-play units we already talked about. So that is the video. Let me know what you guys are thinking of Team Bardock as just a free-to-play team. Let me know if you grinded them up or if this video convinced you to grind them up. Again, for people who've been playing for a bit now, you don't need to grind up this team. You probably have a solidified team that can take on most content. But for newer players that just want a gateway into team building, into, you know, how to build these units in their hidden potential system, just all that type of stuff, then grinding up Team Bardock would be very good for you. So once again, that has been the video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you all in the next one.